Hello guys, welcome to my channel Devops Corner. In this video, we will be installing Docker and deploy a first container application. It is absolutely designed for beginners on Docker technology. So here is what we will see. Installation of Docker on any system, including desktops and servers, running a Docker container, running basic Docker commands to check the state of our container. So if you're interested in more Devops videos, do not hesitate to check my channel, and do not forget to like and subscribe if you want to get notification on new videos. So guys, let's dive in. Hello guys, so welcome back to my channel Devops Corner. So let's proceed with Docker installation on my system. So let me switch to my server. So guys, as you can see, I have a server, um, which is a virtual machine running in the cloud on Microsoft Azure, which is a public cloud for Microsoft. So let me switch to root user. I'm now root, so I have all necessary privileges. So let's check my system. LSP this. So as you can see, I'm running Ubuntu and 24.04 release. So you can use your laptop. You can use any virtual machine running somewhere in the cloud, or even your physical machine. So it will work for any machine. So let's proceed with the installation. So we'll be following the official Docker documentation on how we can install Docker on any system. So let me proceed with you. Okay, as you can see, I'm connected to the official Docker website, docs.docker.com. So let's go and get started, and then we go to get Docker. After this, we scroll down, and you can see Docker desktop for Mac, Docker desktop for Windows, Docker desktop for Linux. So you can choose and the Docker desktop depending on your system. If you are using a laptop for Mac, you can go with this. So if you are using Windows, you choose the second, and so on and so forth. And Docker Desktop actually is a version of Docker which runs actually on the desktop system, and it contains everything needed for Docker, every component. And in addition to that, there is a dashboard, actually a graphical dashboard, where you can which you can use actually to do directly installation, to run Docker commands, to run your container, and so on and so forth. So go on and choose your desktop. I mean your version, depending on your system. So for me, I will go with this option. I will install actually Docker Engine because I'm using a server. So let's proceed. Yes, and you can see the list of supported platforms. So I will choose Ubuntu. Then I will go down and I will follow these installation methods. As you can see, installation methods. And for us, we use this install using apt repository. So apt repository actually is the package manager for Debian distribution, including Ubuntu. So I follow this step. So we have like 3 steps. two steps. So we set up Docker apt repository. I mean, we configure the repository for Docker, and then after we install our necessary Docker packages. So you will follow this with me. I will do actual installation from scratch. So I will run this command to uninstall everything, and then to start the installation from scratch. So now let's switch to my server and follow me with the installation. Perfect. So let's start. Okay. So I will uninstall everything. So for you, if it's the first time to install Docker, so you don't really need to uninstall Docker, so you can start directly with the installation procedure. So now I think everything's okay, and I can go further and uninstall everything to actually to do the installation from scratch. So let me uninstall everything. Okay, great. And let me do some remove some folder. Yes, and let me remove also the repository for Docker. Okay, great. So my system, guys, is clean. If I run Docker version to see if Docker is installed, then you can see Docker is not known actually. So as you can see, Docker not found, command not found. So great. So you should see the same if you don't have Docker. So let's proceed with the installation. Perfect. So let's copy the procedure. I will start by updating my system. So apt update. So it's okay. So we will be installing uh, some packages, some certificates, and some commands. So let's run this. Okay. So let me copy again the command because I was mistaken. So let's install the certificates and command. So it's okay. So let me proceed with the installation of, creation of killings. So killings folder where the repository keys will be stored, and also after I will download the key for Docker the repository, and I will configure the correct permission on this key. So let's proceed. So after this step, I will run another command actually which will um, add the Docker repository in my apt sources. So let's proceed with this. So this command, okay, perfect. So this command actually what it will do, it will add the Docker repository to my sources. So it will first of all check my OS release, my distribution, and so on. And then after it will configure the correct, apt repository source. So let's run the command. Okay, so guys, this is okay. So to check if the repository was added to my apt sources, we can do a cat of this file, and then you can see if the repository is there. Okay, great. So you can see there is this Docker repository which is added to my apt sources with the correct key. As you can see, the correct key that we downloaded before. So now, then let's again update my system after the repository configuration. Perfect. So my system is updated. So now we can now go to the second step and install Docker packages. Okay. Perfect. So I'll be installing Docker Community Edition, Docker CE, and also Docker Client and the Containerized.io, which is also another container engine on which Docker is based, and also Docker Compose, which is another Docker client actually, which is used to manage multi-container application. I mean a container which runs multiple containers. So sorry, an application that runs multiple containers. So this can be used, can be managed by Docker Composer, and we have a demo on this also. So let's install all necessary packages. Yes. Let's wait a little bit. Okay, perfect. So now everything is supposed to be okay. Huh? So let's check if Docker is present on my system by running Docker version command. Okay, perfect, guys. As you can see, I have Docker, which is installed on my system with the version 28.1.1. So what else? Let's also check if the Docker daemon, if you remember Docker daemon component, which should also be running on my system. So let's check this. We use systemctl status docker. Okay, perfect. So the Docker application container engine is running since 50 seconds ago, and you can see that it is the daemon. Initialization was completed, and it is listening for API on this socket. So guys, everything's okay now. So Docker is running on our system. We can start using Docker. So I will do one last command. Docker info. So info just to view all information regarding Docker client and Docker server. So let's see this. Okay, so client Docker engine community. So this is the client. This is the version for our Docker client. And this is the server information. So as you can see, we don't have any container on our server, no running container, and we have zero image, so it's normal. We have zero image, and this is the server version. And we can also see the C group driver, which is systemd. So the C group is the control group driver, which will be used by Docker actually to limit our containers on how much resources to use in terms of CPU, memory usage, and so on. So we saw this before in my presentation. And what else we can see? We can see the Docker host information. I mean, the server on which Docker is running. You can see the kernel version. So this is the version for my virtual machine. This is the operating system. This is the OS type, and this is the architecture, of course. This is the CPU, and this is the memory. So you can see I'm having the server of 2 CPUs and almost 8 GB of memory. So this is my host name of my server, as you can see. So guys, everything's okay. We can start now using Docker, as you can see. And now let's switch to the second demo, where we run our first Docker container. So thank you. Let's switch to the second demo. Hello guys. So welcome back to my channel, Devops Corner. So in this demo, I will be installing our first Docker container. So my previous demo 1, I installed Docker on my system. So in the second demo, let's now start our first Docker container. So let me switch to my server. Okay, as you can see, I'm connected to my server, and we have already Docker installed. Sorry, we have already Docker. So Docker version. So great, we have our Docker here. So now let's start our first container. So to start a container, as we said, we need an image. We need a Docker image, which is a template which contains every information about the container. I mean, the operating system, the libraries, the application configuration, the source code of our application, and so on and so forth. So we will install a simple container, an Nginx container. So an Nginx container, if you are not familiar with Nginx, is a web server, a most known web server, and also a reverse proxy. I mean, for web application. So we'll be installing this, and the first step is to get the image. So we'll be pulling the image from the Docker Hub. So if you can remember, the Docker Hub is the public registry. Is the public registry on internet, where you can find almost, the images shared by the Docker community, and you can use also this for your project, for your own development, for testing purpose. So we will be pulling an image from this Docker Hub. So let me, a little bit before proceeding, show you Docker Hub, so that you can know Docker Hub, what I'm talking about. So let's type Docker Hub. It's Docker, sorry, Docker Hub. So as you can see, this is the registry. Sorry, perfect. So this is the Docker Hub website. So the public registry where the Docker images are stored. And let's look for Nginx image. So I will type image, nginx image. So let's search for this. And I will look for the official nginx image. Okay, as you can see, this is the nginx official Docker image from the nginx team. And here's the command if you want to pull this image and use this image on your system. So guys, I will be using this procedure. So I will pull, first of all, this image on my system using docker pull command. And so let me switch to my server, and then I will pull this image. So let me run this command, docker. First of all, let's check if you have an image. So as you can see, docker image command to see if you have images on our system. So as you can see, I have no image. So the list is empty. So let's now pull this image, nginx, docker pull nginx. So this image will be pulled. Let's wait for that. Okay, so it's now complete. So now if I run again the command doc image to list my Docker image on my system, sorry, as you can see, I have now the image. So the nginx, and this is the size. So it was created 4 weeks ago, and this is the image ID. The image ID. So there is also what is known as a tag. So a tag, guys, is actually it's like a version for our Docker image. So when we build Docker image, we give them some tags to actually to precise the version. So it's either latest, or it can have another version, version 2, version 1, and so on. So you can tag also according to the platform. You can tag image, for instance, dev, or production, or another environment staging, and so on. So to actually to know where the image is used. So now we have our Docker image on the system. So now we can start the Docker container. So we start the nginx container. So to run a container, there is a command which is docker run. So to start a container, and then we can precise the name of our container. So let's say my nginx container, and then I will add another parameter which is -d. So this means detached mode. So we are actually running the Docker in the background. So we don't want the container to run actually to be started in the terminal. So we need this process to run in the background. So we add this option -d detached, and then I will also add another flag which is -p. So -p is an important flag actually to expose the container process, I mean container application on my server. So the container will be accessed on my server. So I will do the port forwarding. So let me write this. So I will expose the port 80 of my container to be actually exposed on my server, on my virtual machine, on this port. So to access my nginx web server, I can use directly my host, my server network IP, and directly on this port, I will be able to access my container application. So it's a port forwarding. which will be done by Docker to actually to expose my Docker container on my server network. After this, I will then precise the image to use. So the image, as you have seen, is the Nginx image. So I'm starting my container. This is the name. And then in the attached mode, so this is the port forwarding. So I will expose the port 80 of my container to my host on port 82. And then this is the image the container will use to run. So guys, let's run the command. Okay, so the container is started. So now let's check if our container is started. So we run a command called docker ps. So it's process show. We show all running containers on my system. So as you can see, I have a container running. This is the container ID. This is the image used by this container. And it was created 21 seconds ago. And this is the port forwarding, actually, as you can see. And this is the name of my container. So there's a container ID and a container, how can you call a container name. So my container is running, guys. What I can do is to access actually my web server, my Nginx web server in the browser. So I will share my browser and I will access actually this container using my machine, my server IP on the port 80. So first of all, you can use localhost if you are using your laptop or localhost actually to access in the browser, to access your container in the browser. If you are running your server somewhere in the cloud or on a premises environment, then you can use the server IP. So guys, let me look for my server IP. So I think my public IP, I can find it like this, if config.me. Actually, if you're running your server has a public IP, you can get an IP like this. So as you can see, I have this public IP, so I will use this. Then let's switch to my browser and show you and access my server. So HTTP. Perfect. Okay, guys, as you can see now, I have my Nginx container running here on port 80 or using my public IP of my virtual machine. So guys, everything now is okay. Now we have our container, which is started, and everything is okay now. So guys, let's switch to the next demo where we will try to actually to interact with our running container. We'll try to actually to enter our container using the shell terminal. We actually open a shell terminal in our container and we try to debug to interact with our running container. So let's go on.